Peace, peace. The Extremist one. And I'm gonna do a video on this FBI Black Identity Extremist. And in this is the the Huff Post, and the title is the FBI Black Identity Extremist. It's a classified as absurd as reverse racism, right? All right, so I'm gonna get into this. I'll be commentary. I'm gonna do my commentary on it. Or what I say, the government will prey on civil rights activists, but suggest they not white supremacists. They say pose a threat to the nation. All right. They say Donald Trump presidency continue to be an object lesson in persistence of systematic racism. They say a recent FBI report shows how little this administration regards black people. So the FBI released a report warning the black identity extremists are the new threat to law enforcement. So even though white supremacist violence and police violence are more prevalent issues because Trump administration is more focused on quelling black people's response to oppression than actually stopping the systematic racism. So it's a foreign policy obtained on August 3rd, FBI report named Black Identity Extremist BIE as a movement, BIG, like BIE, okay. It's as a movement motivated by incidents of alleged police abuse against African Americans. And the report predicts an increase in violence against law enforcement based on 6 attacks of police from 2014 to 2016, including so-called Michael Johnson 2016 shooting in Dallas, where 5 police officers were supposed to believe somebody killed 5 police officers. Okay, they say in the 6 incidents, in a total of 8 police officers killed, but it say this doesn't compare to how many police officers have killed black people. According to the Washington Post database, in 2015, police killed 259 black people. It's a 38 of whom it's a unarmed. It's a and less than 40% of those unarmed black people were in attack progress. It's a were and no. I'm sorry. Let me read that one more time. It's a 38 of whom were unarmed, and less than 40% of those unarmed black people were in attack in progress. They say in 2016, police killed 233 black people, and 17 of them were unarmed. So far, 2017, police have killed 169 black people, and 10 of those were unarmed. They say comparing to FBI recent numbers, BIE related deaths, they say BIE. See, now they targeting and they labeling people, like they come up with these terms and label the war on drugs. That's the war on drugs. That's a vague war. The war on terror. That's a vague war. Now it's the BIE. Now it's the Black Identity Extremist. Who's the extremist? Out of 2 of them guys who committed them crimes, they was in the army. The Joker, the so-called Joker Cosmos, and the Joker so-called Michael Johnson, that was in the picture with Professor Griff so conveniently or whatever. Both of these guys was in the army, and now all of a sudden they black. Man, listen, I believe that shit was false flags. They try to connect the dude Cosmos to the Moors, which he ain't had no connection to. He even said in the video, I ain't got no connection to nobody, such and such, or whatever. Like I said, I believe that shit was a false flag, because it really, it's a system thing. It ain't no one individual. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real. I've been in the streets, man. I've seen dirty cops. I've seen a lot of dirty cops, a lot. And I'm keeping it 100. Nowadays, a lot of these cops is just regular people, man. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like you can get more out of talking to one of them than you would trying to be trying to resist. Or now you do got some nasty cops out there, but nonetheless though there is, and I'm not, listen, I'm not an advocate of, but you do need police, because there is a lot of unsavory people out there, whether it is because of the system or was it some mutation in the brain caused them to start being crazy. However it is, yeah, it is a system that need some police, and if the people in the area or the community can't police itself. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, as far as coming up, I've seen police take jokers out to the airport, beat them up, leave them out there. I've seen a lot of shit. I've seen police knock a woman out and lay her on a curve or whatever. I've seen police plant drugs on people. I've seen police just run up and do what the fuck they do, whatever they want to do, and disrespect people however they want to do whatever they, you know what I'm saying? I've seen this firsthand. I've been on the side of the road and state trooper pull me over and just come and just ask me a simple question, and I tell them whatever. He's like, all right, man, just have a good day. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen a lot of different, I have seen when I was young at one point in time, I remember one time we was driving, me and my boys or whatever, we had a vehicle which didn't have no ignition in it, ain't had no, it was a hoop, it was a real hoop, it ain't had no dashboard, I mean, well, not no dashboard, but the glove compartment, ain't had none of that shit. It was a straight hoopty, like a 1979 Datsun or whatever, but he got us around. And one day, police, we was up in the area, where like the suburb area around my way or whatever, and the police, like we went down one block, police came around and we parked. The police came around and somehow they found us or whatever. So the police came, we put our hands up or whatever. Believe it or not, we had weed on us and everything. They didn't find the weed, but yo, they let us go. My boy had no license. I mean, my boy had license, but he didn't have his license on him or whatever. Word one, however it go, the police let us go. They didn't give us no tickets. They ain't record check us. They ain't do. And it was three white cops. And I have been in other situations where the police had just let me go. So I've seen vice versa. So I know myself, all police is not bad, because I can testify to that. Now, I'm not saying, I don't know what percentage of them is good, what percentage of them bad, but I don't believe that nobody's going to run down on no cops and just start doing no foul shit like that. That shit is like, come on, man. That you have to be a psycho individual to even consider it doing some shit like that. So I'm gonna digress, man. But all right, it say it say comparing to FBI recent number of BIE, it say related death and police related shootings. It say of unarmed black people within the same time period, bringing a ratio of 8.65, and yet Trump administration has scaled back Barack Obama effort towards police reform. It say Jesse Daniels, a sociologist and professor at Hunter County, said black people are routinely killed by police at a rate that mirrors those of the racial terrorism of lynching, but the FBI report works against black citizens by shifting the blame to identity political, which is a call for activism against racism and police brutality. So he's basically saying that if you basically complain about what your oppressor doing to you, then you are a black identity. Then you identifying with people. That shit. Come on, man. That's a very vague term for a professional bureau of investigation to put out there like that, and then say, oh well, you might be motivated by doing this. Listen, these people know the history of black people, so-called black people in North America, and they know all the horrific shit they have done, and black people still haven't done no shit like this. That's the reason why I believe that shit was triggered, because it was two of them back to back, and none of and come on, bro. I believe it might, if anyone did get hurt in the one that happened in Louisiana, I don't know. I don't believe the news. But what I'm saying is this: if they did get hurt, it probably was a MK Ultra MK Ultra sleeper stuff, because you never even seen a dude fake. Dude supposedly had a mask on, walking down the street with a fucking machine gun. Like, I mean, what? Like, are you serious? Like, I mean, come on, man. Nonetheless, though, that's one thing or whatever. Two, he was in the military supposedly. You know, three, you know, that, like, ain't nobody, that's some dumb shit. Like, and then the same thing with Michael Johnson. You got pictures of him with Professor Griff. Now, how conveniently is that? You got perfect pictures of him with Professor Griff. For all we know, we don't even know if he was the one even there. We don't know if that brother was even there, because y'all suppose they sent the computer, a robot in there, and he blew him up. Like, come on, man. So I don't believe half this shit, man. I don't take no enjoyment in saying, yeah, well, he did this, because he might be some made up individual. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, but I do know that in that report, they did mention the Moors or whatever, how conveniently, especially, I believe the current gangs thing was a false flag as well. I mean, holler at me if y'all don't, you want to know why I believe it's a false flag, because first of all, SWAT team standing in the doorway with a shotgun or whatever, it's one girl in there. Ain't no girl gonna risk her fucking children or whatever to put no standoff because she so motivated by some fake sovereign citizen movement or whatever. That's not even what this shit is about. Like, if anything, you want to go to court and beat it in court. You don't want to put no standoff like, oh, I'm a free person in a fucking apartment building. A man ain't gonna do no dumb shit like that. Not less no woman who watching so-called YouTube videos or whatever gonna do no shit like that. I don't believe, see, my mind doesn't work like that. My mind don't believe that these people really exist like that, because I have yet to see it, and I've been dealing with Moore's information or whatever for a minute. And none of the people who I seen around me even act like that. So not less for one woman, and you got a child with you. I think it was 2 other children. Come on, man. I mean, whatever. Yeah, all right. Y'all believe that shit. You believe it because she had a pretty face, and you niggas, you simping ass niggas out there or whatever, believe anything. You believe anything they put out there. You so emotional. But I do know that false flags exist. You understand what I'm saying? So for that, and then if you do the research, you can't even find a little boy. The little boy, like, he don't even exist no more. You know what I'm saying? He ain't there. Come on, man. You people believe any motherfucking thing. Like, I don't believe a lot of this shit. I believe a lot of these shits are for moments to where they can resort back and say, all right, well, look, remember they did this? And they the one, fuck, this shit was rehearsed and everything. So I ain't even buying. Listen, I'm telling all you, I don't buy the Michael Johnson shit. I don't buy the so-called Cosmos or whoever the individual was. I don't buy the Korean game shit neither. I believe that was some dumb, that was some fake, that was some rehearsed. Because there's no way in the world you're going to load no shotgun with a fucking foam in your hand. A woman? A woman? Like you on a battlefield? Come on, man. All right, whatever. Lose me with that. All right, but what I'm saying is, so, all right, we're going to go further into this, all right? You know, we already know they're going to the so-called Joker, Michael Johnson, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, if he even exists, or whatever. So what they saying is that all these terrorist acts, or whatever, you figure the so-called shit that happened with the, what's the shit that happened, Newtown, whatever the shit, Sandy Hook, the Sandy Hook shooting or whatever, that was a deranged European. I don't believe that happened because the FBI came out and said nothing happened. This other shooting in the club, the gay club, that was a European. They ain't call him a terrorist. Dylan Roof, I don't believe that shit happened. I don't believe he did it or whatever. I believe somebody else did it if it happened or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely more than one person that did it or whatever. What else? The shit down in Charleston, I believe that shit was some stage shit. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Because the real joints like the Bundy Ranch, I believe that was real. The Bundy Ranch, the shit with that shit with the Branch Davidians or whatever, that shit was real or whatever. But nonetheless, though, like, you know, certain things that happen with so-called people who be wilding or these individuals or whatever, but none of these Europeans, man. You know, these Europeans was doing this shit to us, man. Look, this is what was taking place before, right? But none of these motherfuckers was ever considered a threat to anybody. Oh, these just working people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? None of these people was ever a threat to anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then no empathy, no sympathy, no, you know what I'm saying? No nothing. No, no statement or nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, you see shit like this, right? You see shit like this, man. Like, what did these brothers possibly do to be hung up like this, and then other people watch, and then they all agree that they all should be lynched like this? None of these people terrorists? Why the FBI can't find these people, and then, or, I mean, I know it's too late or whatever. We don't know who none of these people was. I get it. All right. Here, more Europeans standing around. When have black people ever did this to anybody? Anybody? When have they ever done this to anybody in here in North America? Considering the shit that was done to us, no, we haven't ever done nothing like that. And the sad part about it is that, you know, like this, like, come on, man, like, for real, it's BIE, Black Identity Extremists or whatever. It's a very vague term. There is no Black Identity Extremists or whatever, except these MK Ultra made up figures that's meant to go out there and try to get somebody to bite. Ain't nobody going, like, come on, man, that's some idiotic shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, though, what happened to these terrorists that was doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened to, like, the terrorists? I mean, I'm just curious, because, like, I'm just saying, like, so Martin Luther King, he would have been a black extremist or whatever, or Malcolm X. You know, what happened to these guys right here, man? Look at this. This is okay that they can lynch this man, and they out there showing you who they are, but no justice get done. But they're not no way near no terrorist to nobody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, we can go on and on and on, man, with this, man. So, you know, we know, and then also I'm going to get to another point in this where well, actually, hold up. Let me see something. All right, I'm gonna read a little bit of this right here. All right, so I'm gonna start right here. I'm gonna read a little bit more of it. All right. So it say, there is no need to use pseudo-political labels or to willingly conflict. It say it with nonviolent protests. It say William said Michael Johnson and Gavin Long was disturbed individuals who acted in their own. Okay, say the FBI doesn't directly blame Black Lives Matter or see, they don't blame Black Lives Matter because that would be a BIE, and I'm not even trying to say that, but that would be a BIE, but because it's ran by Soros, so it's not a BIE because that's a opposed opposition. I mean, yeah, that's a control opposition. I'm sorry, Black Lives Matter, whatever. It say or clarify if it fits under the BIE ideology. See, ideology. See how they putting ideology, identity, ideology, ideology. See, it's the same word. So basically, ideology. Ideology is what you identify with, or whatever. So that could be any ideology. That could be any type of membership of anybody who just say, well, we want our people not to go to school and learn some of this stuff, or not to, you know what I'm saying? Y'all get it, man. It say, but it doesn't explain why it needs the term BIE. It say when it already identify Moorish sovereign citizens as black separatists. All right, so it say Moorish sovereign citizens, and that's the thing. They using the terms they want to use for it. The Moors ain't sovereign citizens. The Moors is saying that you don't have jurisdiction over them unless they create a crime, meaning that you have to have a complaint from a real individual. That is what a real violent crime is. So a crime is a crime by violence, a crime, a damage to property, or a fraud. If you don't have injury to a person, then no crime was committed. You understand? So when you say Morris sovereign citizen, sovereign is a person that's free on the land, so he's not a citizen of nobody. He's a sovereign with a surname of whatever his people is. So what is as black separatists? So if you separate yourself, what is a black separatist? You understand what I'm saying? What is a black separatist? Because I thought we was African American, but what is a separatist? I don't get that term. I don't even want to go into it though. But I digress. Let's go on. They say, speaking of the new KKK, white supremacists killing overweight. The FBI recorded BIE. It said attacks during the same time period in 2014. Frazier Glenn Miller, founder of the Carolina Knights of Ku Klux Klan, murdered 3 people because he wanted to kill Jews before he died. In 2015, Dylan Roof massacred 9 people in the church to start a race war. It's saying John Russell Hauser, it say praise Adolf Hitler. It's saying David Duke online before he killed 2 people in Lafayette, Louisiana movie theater. It's saying 2016, Russell Orlando Cartier, whatever. It's a member of the European Kinder white supremacist prison gang, killed black teen Larnell Bruce in Oregon and was charged with a hate crime. This year, James Harris Jackson traveled to Maryland to New York City and killed Timothy Cogman, an elderly black man. It say to discourage white women from interracial dating. What the fuck? They say, and Jared, okay, that's the dude who stabbed him. My bad. Okay, all right, rest in peace, that brother. That's the white dude who stabbed him or whatever. I don't even believe that might have been something fake. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Jeremy Joseph Christian stabbed 2 men to death in Portland, Oregon. It's in Portland, Oregon, trained after they stopped in to protect 2 Muslim girls from a hate speech. Say on August 12th, James Field Jr. killed Heather Heyer. It's saying an anti-racist protest. It's say with his car during the Unite the rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. It's comparing the deaths in the report with high-profile white supremacist violence. It said that occurred before it was written brings the ratio to 1.2. It's saying joint memos from the FBI and DA. See, that's the thing though. You can't compare what they done to white supremacists because these are established groups. So you can't say one individual. What other people from the Amor Science Temple have done anything besides try to get houses, besides try to fight statutory laws or whatever? What have they really done? What I mean, you have to show me some. You have to show me some cases. There is none. They make these motherfuckers up and then try to tie them to these groups or whatever. And they say, oh well, look, they go a template where we could use what a identity. That come on, man, that shit is crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, so, all right, where was I at? All right, I was right here. It say administration. It said about white supremacist violence as the dominant threat of domestic terrorism. They say, but Trump administration has cut funding for an organization designed to prevent white supremacist violence. Yeah, okay. So the Trump administration cut funding for the organization designed to prevent white supremacist violence. They say now the FBI presence black movement, and they ain't really no black groups. They only groups to where either they religious groups or they groups where people just trying to teach themselves or trying to, you know what I'm saying, try to find their culture or whatever. There ain't no violent group. Come on, man, this is bullshit. So you mean tell me you got known white supremacist groups who got weapons and all this other stuff, and at the same time you got people who you just trying to identify them with certain groups saying, oh, he was part of this person or part. Come on, man. They say now the FBI presents the black movement that formerly officials say doesn't exist. Former FBI agent Michael German defined the FBI new term BIE as black people who scared him. They say per foreign policy. Wow, that's deep. They say the BIE violence has been rare over 20 years. Say, and there is a spare evidence, with of any convergency of no any convergence converge. Sorry, y'all. They say with SE with FSCE. What is the SCE? It say who adhere. With the SCE. It say who adheres to Moorish beliefs. It say who has historically engaged in non-violence. It say fraudulent schemes. It say including producing fraudulent personal identification documents such as international motorist certification passports. It say vehicle titles and registration of birth certificate and supporting their claim of sovereignty. It say in addition. So it's basically saying that the people of Moorish beliefs, it say engaged in non-violent fraudulent schemes. It say including production of fraudulent personal identification documents such as, see, you have a right under the rights of indigenous people to self-identify. Now say more international motorist certification. If you buy a vehicle, the vehicle is yours. The vehicle is yours. But I digress, man. It said the FBI. The FBI should focus on any threat to society regarding the race. They say, but creating a racial term for a form of violence that reports amidst that has been rare over the last 20 years is excessive. The mentality behind the term, however, isn't new. It said the tone of this recent report paid homage to J. Edgar Hoover COINTELPRO program that led the FBI to track James Baldwin. Now look, that James Baldwin was a homosexual, right? He was a non. You could look at him and tell he wasn't violent. But let me read that again. The mentality behind the term, however, isn't new. The tone of this report, of this recent report, paid homage to J. Edgar Hoover COINTELPRO program that led the FBI to track James Baldwin. Okay, due to his bitter, my bad, man. It say of American government response and violence against the black community. All right, the criticism of the American government response to the violence against the black community. All right. Now look, this is what it says. It say the November. I'm gonna read a little bit of this if I can, because this shit kind of small. It say the November 6, 1963 issue of the Washington Daily News, a daily newspaper in Washington, D.C., carried the article concerning a civil rights conference being held at Howard University, Washington, D.C., November 5th, 1963. Among those participating at the conference was James Baldwin, concerning whom the article made the following statement. Mr. Baldwin dropped several veiled hints of future trouble. They say, I wonder how long we can endure, stand and not fight back. It say he said at one point, it say at another, he said he knew of many, even members of my own family, say, who would think nothing of picking up, arms tomorrow. It say the article also stated that Baldwin advocated the use of general strike, as means to achieve civil rights. Say the New York Herald Tribune, it say of September 29th, 1963, contains the article dealing with the plains of Negroes. It say civil rights leaders had told mass meetings in New York to mourn the 6 Negroes killed in Birmingham, Alabama. It say the article indicates that Baldwin, bitterly criticized the Kennedy administration and the Federal Bureau of Investigation for the alleged lack of action following the bombs of the church. Now see, let me see. Now we're gonna get into that. So it's a Bremerton in which 4 Negro girls was killed. 4 babies was killed. Okay, name any time when any black person killed 4 European girls or anything of the sort of any, or of anything. Of anything of the sort. or whatever. It say the article continue. It say Baldwin said the mass meeting Sunday. It say was served as a warning but not a threat. It say that Negroes in America since the Birmingham atrocity, it say are dangerously on the edge of violence. A violence that could erupt in Birmingham and spread across the nation. It say on June 30th, 1963, the Miami News, a local Miami, Florida newspaper reported that the Negro writer who they described as an angry young man of American literature, James Baldwin warned that there are a lot of angry young people among his race, and their temper are wearing thin, and that the self-control which Negroes integration is used in their non-violence campaign for equality is saying reaching a breaking point. Say the article further reports Baldwin as stating that the obstruction of the passage of President Kennedy's civil rights legislation in Congress could well be the spark of the touch of widespread rioting. Alright, it say the Washington Post at times of September 27, 1963, containing the Associated Press article dating line New York, September 25th, which stated that Baldwin termed he termed the appointment by President Kennedy and Kenneth C. Royal and Earl H. Black. They say a peacemaker in Birmingham was clinical. They say the article also quoted Baldwin as saying, "We must take the establishment of. We must make the establishment afraid of us." Okay, so it's a considering Trump and Mike Pence conduct towards the NFL player protest administration. Systematic racism, the administration unflinching, dedicated to rolling back Obama effort. Obama ain't make no fucking efforts. He ain't do nothing. He made more laws for the police, so he ain't make no efforts. What efforts did he make? But I digress. I'm gonna keep reading. Say effort towards criminal justice reform. It say frankly rolling back Obama's legacy as a whole. What legacy? He ain't got no legacy. His legacy is gay marriage. His wife might be a tranny, and he supposedly went to these wars that he said he wasn't going to be a part of. Say Trump favored an I can't pronounce that word, my bad, regime to stomp out any black-led resistance. It say much to his base delight. It say terms black identity extremists are indeed to create the false equivalence to the systematic racism that plagues and traumatize the black community, and the law enforcement version of reverse racism and its logical extinction to Trump racist allergic administration that doesn't seek criminal justice reform but calls for ESPN to fire a black woman journalist for calling out its white supremacist leaning. They say, and then rail against her while ignoring yet another white supremacist gathering in Charlottesville. Yeah, see, that's what they do. See what I'm saying? And that's the sad part, man, that, you know what I'm saying, people see exactly what goes on. They got Trump or whatever, but yeah, man, listen, it's like this, man. If you see shit that's not right and justice and people bring it to attention or whatever, you have a right to protest, according to the First Amendment or whatever, peaceful protest or whatever your protest might be. You know what I'm saying? But you know, for them to call out and say that people is trying to do this on law enforcement, that's them two individuals that we don't even believe is real people. You know what I'm saying? But to say that, oh, them the only out of the last 70 years, them motherfuckers, you know, with the exception of whatever they accuse the Black Panthers of to lock them up or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, though, Yeah, man. It's just like, it's just an ongoing thing, and it's sad that they would even make a statement to identify somebody and say that they going at the law enforcement. Who, I mean, I don't get it, man. But these people, man, y'all be safe out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. I mean, definitely be safe. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But like I said, another thing too, man. I see a lot of cops now. See, and you know what the biggest problem is? This is the problem, and I'm just going to break the problem down, right? The reason that they able to stop you and frisk, or even most of these incidents with black people is either it's a traffic stop, either it's a cigarette, either it's a black man in Walmart with a firearm, in which they sell firearms or whatever. Whether it's a child with a firearm, whether it's a lady who got pulled over for a traffic stop, murder herself. Like, see, what it is that the system violates your so-called amendment rights. All your rights that you're supposed to have. The Fourth Amendment protects you against illegal stops, searches, and seizures, but because they got so-called traffic rules, you just ran that light, but no one was injured in the process of it. But then they start talking, I can lock you up and start doing, and then that's when all these other problems start. And the same thing with stop and frisk. Because of war on drugs, but the fucking CIA put the drugs in the community, and the FBI not fucking investigating them though. So they cause the problem, and that trickles down to where millions of people, where they got in the federal prison because of drugs, they lock a motherfucker up over drugs, and they don't even find no drugs. They lock a nigga up with drugs over word of mouth because an informant told them. So the FBI know about the CIA the CIA involvement in drugs. They making movies with Tom Cruise flying jets, and he's saying that CIA is on board. Come on, man. And then that's one reason how they stop people, and this is the reason why you start seeing a lot of people, a lot of deaths, because they can just infringe on you. They can just assume you can have nice stuff on, walking on the street, police jump out on you. Police assume you of being a so-called drug dealer. They can make you dirty you. They can do all this shit, man. And how you sitting out there. And I'm starting to think that these cops got quotas. If you don't make a certain amount of arrests, according to the probably statistics that they got, then they probably get demoted or get fired. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I've seen it. I don't know about now because I'm not involved in none of that. So I don't see. I see every now and then if I ride through a neighborhood, police violate, but that's where all the violations come from. The contract that every person in this country is supposed to have. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, the Third Amendment. Well, I forgot the Third Amendment, but the Fourth Amendment, the right to be protected against illegal stops, searches, and seizures. And that's the majority of things what take place, with a reason why a lot of these people is getting killed, because the cops' engagement with them is not resulting in, it's a real serious matter for you to be even engaging somebody. And the cop make the matter worse, because the reason you even approaching a person is not even worth you approaching them. So that's why a lot of shit escalate. And and that's the reason why a lot of, just like the video with the black kid riding a bike on the sidewalk, and the little Spanish cop gets automatically assumed authority over his body by saying, come here, give me show me your ID. He's like, I'm not gonna have to show you my ID. And then just because of that, it initiated to where the police came. He was getting upset. You see him getting upset because he know that he really didn't do nothing. All he doing is being a kid. He riding the bike like anybody else. And with a white kid, they want to say nothing to him. So these are the things in which causes a lot of this shit. Causes a lot of these kids to get killed, because it's all dealing with drugs, and it's all infringing in someone. You have a right. Listen, if the police stop you, okay? We assume you selling drugs or whatever. or whatever. And then soon as they don't find nothing on you, you don't file a complaint. That's the reason why they constantly keep on doing it, because you gotta file a complaint against them if you catch them in the wrong. And that's the most simplest way to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling people, I know that this is a little bit going leftward, but think of it like this, right? All these people who was killed because of assumptions, because they made assumptions that they might have had something. It might have been a brother who might have just had like the Joker Walter Scott or whatever. And I believe that might have been fake or whatever though. But yeah, you know why I believe it was fake? Just for y'all who say, oh, this guy believe everything fake, because the fucking police officer was Dylan Roof Bunky. And I'm like, yo, they can't make this shit up, yo. Are you serious? They just can't make this shit up. So they throw a little shit out there to throw you hints to where you know this shit is not real or whatever though. But nonetheless though, a situation like that, the police just stop you out of the blue. Just you walk and you mind your business, they can stop you out of the blue. And then they record check you for nothing. They do that in the neighborhood all the time or whatever. Young kids walking home from school, police just harass them. They 16, young kids. They don't tell their mother to go make a report with the what's the name, with the sergeant or whatever. See, that's the only way you can get police to stop doing, because the police it's engaged. It's the engagement in how they run down on us, because they run down on us because of drugs, because of war on drugs, because of the drug laws. They can accuse you of doing anything. And because, like I said, because a lot of these traffic stops, if the traffic stop doesn't have an injury towards no one, then why is the state getting paid? Why is somebody penalizing you when you got insurance? And if you do hit somebody, you can cover, or they liable. That's all that this shit is about. But nonetheless, though, man, I'm gonna keep it at that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, everybody, man, you know, be safe out here, man. Just try to, you know, whatever your protest is or whatever, man, just keeping them along the means of where, you know, you don't get identified as being a person, as being a black identity extremist or whatever. Look, I'm intentionalist to this continent called North America. I'm not my identity, I have a right to self-identify myself as according to the rights of indigenous people or whatever. I have a right. I mean, I know people probably like, man, well, that's a piece of paper, you don't have enough, but I still have a right to self-identify myself or whatever. As long as I'm moving in a peaceful manner, I'm not injuring nobody. No one have a complaint and said I did anything to them, because I don't violate nobody. I don't dominate no one, and I don't want to be dominated at the end of the day. So, like, you know, with that being said, man, this is the Timeless one, man. Peace out to everyone, man. Peace.